Welcome back to this Modifying Doom 3 editor series. Today's episode looks at how to add a Sentry bot to our map. This helpful little NPC can guide the player to a destination, offer fire support if we encounter monsters along the way, and it can also light a path should the going get dark. As always, please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, like, dislike, or click the notification button for alerts when we post new videos. Otherwise, drop by the channel Tom's World for a complete list of all our videos. If you ever wondered how the Doom 3 video game was built, stay with us as we jump into the editor. Okay, so here we are in our one of our older maps, the one that we actually drew our secret ladder sequence in. I'm just going to use that as a starting point. And I just took basically the walls and the floor and ceiling and I just cloned it. And if we look in our XYZ window, I just cloned it and moved it down here. I just needed a couple rooms because I really didn't think the Sentry following me around in a single room was too exciting. Also, I kind of wanted to see what the guy could do, what his pathing can do. So I wanted to create a little bit of a maze here for him to walk around. So I got those two rooms down, put in a little hallway to sort of connect the two, then added some structure here again just to create a maze. I put a doorway in here, and then as I'll show you in a second, I put a ramp and a second floor in here. And then also I just slapped in some lights here just so we could see basically, otherwise it'd just be black. And I just kind of resized the lights, and I used the J key here, and I adjusted the intensity or the brightness just to get, just to make it look nice. Put those lights in there. Okay, that's good. And then probably more advanced mappers will know about this. If you're a beginner, don't worry about this too much. We'll talk about it a little bit more in future videos. But you know that I'm a bit of an optimization hound, and I always optimize my maps. And as soon as you deal with two rooms, you got to have visiportals. So actually, I've just I've hidden them for now, but let's show them right now really quick. So if you're wondering, yes, I do have my visiportals in. That's just to optimize the map. It's a little bit overboard. I mean, we only have two rooms, not very many entities, but advanced mappers will know what this is. Beginners, don't worry about this, but we're going to cover this soon in a video coming up. So let's just get rid of those for now. Just show, and we'll hide them just so they're not there. Okay, there we are. So let's jump into the map real quick, and let me show you what I got. Here's our little map, and here's our little ladder sequence. Whee! It's kind of fun. And then, a little hallway here just to connect those two spaces. A little bit of light in there just so we can see what we're doing. There's a bit of a maze. I just left an open doorway this time just because we haven't talked about doors yet. But rest assured, if you put a door there, the Sentry bot will go through it. Then here I put a ramp. I don't normally put ramps in my map because they look kind of cheesy. Could have taken the time to put stairs, and as we all know, stairs are just ramps in disguise, but we'll leave it just as a ramp, and we want to basically get the player up in this area here. So nothing fancy, just a little bit of a maze just to see what the guy can do. And you're going to have to use discretion in terms of the Sentry bot's pathing. And we'll talk about that just in a second here, well, a little bit later anyway. All right, so let's jump in here and let's have a look to see how we can get this bot into our map. So putting in a Sentry bot is actually really simple because the Sentry bot entity actually has a little bit of AI built into it. And to build a sequence, this sequence, we need actually 3 entities plus a trigger. So let's start off with those 3 entities. So let's go ahead and put that Sentry in first. So let's go to the XYZ window, right click, and we're looking for something called char_sentry flashlight, and char is for, I guess, character, CHAR. So let's find that. It's alphabetical order here. Okay, so character, where are we here? Character, char, sorry. And we want to find Sentry flashlight. Okay, there's 2 of them there, Sentry, and we'll go with the flashlight one. So if we zoom in on him, if you just see, look where my mouse is circling, the 2 shorter legs, that's the front of it. So you want it to be pointing, whichever way you want it to be pointing. So let's bring him down to the floor, and let's put him up on one of these tiles so it looks nice. Okay, there he is there. All right, so he's in place. Now that constitutes the starting point, obviously, so he's going to come to life there. Now we want to determine the end of his path, at the end point where he's going to go. And we do that with another entity which I don't think we've seen yet, and that's a path corner. So we're going to go into our XYZ window here, and we're going to right click on it, and we're looking for path corner. And again, this is all alphabetical, so path corner. There it is there. And we're going to put that in that second room, and we're going to put that up on that elevation. So let's put that guy up there. Let's have a look through the XYZ window to see our positioning. Okay, that's good there. And he's kind of on that texture nicely there. So, and that constitutes his start and end points. So quite simple. That's 2 out of 3. Now let's put in that final entity. So the sentry is going to walk from where he spawns into the path corner, and then we want to shut him down. And we have to do that with a third entity called path sentry shutdown. So let's right click on XYZ, and we're going to look for path sentry shutdown. And that's going to be alphabetical. So path sentry shutdown. There it is there. And let's put that there. Let's put that close to the path corner there and kind of up there so it's out of the way. Okay, so we've got those 3 entities in. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put one key val in here, and we're going to give that to the sentry. So let's go down to him. Let's select him, shift left mouse button. Let's go down to the entity window. Now if we look up here, we're going to look for this key val right here, lead player. If set, sentry leads the player along its path. We want that mechanic. If we don't set that, as soon as this guy spawns in, the sentry bot, he's just going to bolt straight to that path corner or end of his path. So we want to put this lead player in here. I don't think I have it in here, do I? Okay, no, I've got it there. I've typed it out already before through a test run, but just type it in, lead player, tab 1, and then hit enter, and make sure he's got that lead player on there. Okay, good. Now our other entities, do they need any key vals? Let's see here. No, we're going to connect things, but that's the only key val we need. Okay, now we have to be able to trigger this sequence. And again, we can trigger things different ways, killing a monster, picking up a weapon, however we want. We're going to go with our old standby trigger once. So I'm going to go into my textures window here and just hit that trigger once, texture. And I'm going to draw out that brush. Let's go to up down view. We'll draw a big brush out here so the player can't miss it. And let's make sure it's in a good place. There it is there, good. Okay, so now it's just a dumb brush with a trigger once texture. So while it's selected, right click XYZ, we're gonna go to trigger, we're gonna go to once, trigger once. Where are we here? Trigger once, there we go. And now it's a trigger once, right? Let's make sure it's got just where my mouse is circling, you can see a little red dot, so it's got its origin. If we look in the render window, well, we can't see the origin because this is centered, and that's good. That's the way we want it. Okay, so that's all our entities. So again, just to review real quick, we've got our char_sentry flashlight. That's our actual sentry, which is there. We've got a path corner for him, which is the end of his path, which is there. And then we've got our path sentry shutdown 1, which is there. Okay, good. Now we've got all our entities in, and we got to start connecting them. So let's go logically. Let's make this little sentry come to life. So we're going to select our trigger once, shift left mouse button, and then we're going to shift left mouse button the sentry. And let's hit Control K, and that's going to create our path. If we look, and the arrow's running the right way. You can see the arrow here in the render window going from the trigger once to the sentry. That's good. Okay, and if we look, the trigger once, if we go into our entity window, we can see it creates that key val for us, target, blah, blah, blah. We know this. This is a review, actually. So next we're going to connect the sentry bot. So we're going to select him first, and then we're going to run over to the path corner here real quick. And we'll select that guy. And then we're going to hit Control K. And do I actually have to do that? Yes. Character sentry flashlight has to be connected to the target path corner. So let's go Control K. There it is. We can't see the path because it's hidden by these brushes. So let's hide those real quick. Never can see the path. And it's going from the sentry bot, well, here to the path corner with the arrow going the right way if we look in the render window. Good. Okay, that's all connected. Let's bring everything back. I think that's all we have to do, gang. I think that's all we have to do. So trigger, no. Oh, and then we have to connect this flashlight shut off, right? Okay. Otherwise, or not flashlight shut off, but sentry bot shut off. Because if he just walks over to the path corner, he's just going to stand there and want him to shut off. So what we want to do is we want to select the path corner and then select the path sentry shutdown, Control K. And there it is. So basically we're just given the path corner, if we look down here, a target of the shutdown. Okay, done. Okay, so now we can save. And let's compile. And just by setting the start point and end point, and we have a bunch of stuff in between, I think we should have a sequence here where he's going to guide us to that area. So let's save. Annoying pop-up, BSP. And let's go into the map. Map 6B. Okay, there we go. There's our little sentries facing the right way. And let's hit that trigger. Oh, there it comes alive. Alright, so how this mechanic works basically is that once a certain distance is exceeded between you and the little sentry, he's going to come back to the player and kind of start chirping and whistling at him and kind of shepherding him along, saying, hey dude, follow me. You can see it's working great. And that AI is built into that entity. We don't have to do anything else. Just put a spawn point in, put the end point in that path corner, and he's going to follow that. You can see he goes around doors and, around the little maze. Now, he gets a little glitched on this ramp, and I left it in intention, and I'll show you how to fix it. But in my run through, yeah, see he's going along the edge there. He makes it up there, but it's kind of wonky. So we're going to fix that right away. So there he goes to a shutdown point, and bada bing, he shuts down nicely, and he's facing the right way and everything. So it's absolutely perfect. He's not perfectly on that little square, but we can fix that in a second. And then what we also want to do here is we want to put in a little decal, because in the game, NPro is one instance of the Sentry. It's got that little floor decal that shows that it's a Sentry, sort of a spawn point or start point. So let's go back into the editor. So two things we have to fix. All right, so he's going off the edge of that ramp. So let's fix that now. So let's go into that room. And we use a simple brush that's got a special texture on it to basically create collision for NPCs. So let's just select this and this and this and hide everything else. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into our media window, and we're going to go into our common folder like we always do. We're going to look for something called monster clip. There it is there. I've already loaded it in here, so I can go into my textures. And where is it? Monster clip. I think it's this one. Well, let's select it manually here. Monster clip. All right, and let's draw some brushes out here. Now, monster clip is basically a clip brush. In other words, it creates collision. And a monster clip is what we're going to create this into, this texture. What this does is the player can go through it, but NPCs cannot. And although a Sentry isn't a monster, it still works. Now, you can kind of take these brushes and you can actually collide them into other brushes, and it doesn't matter. So I'm going to put a little, almost like an invisible railing here. Let's put it up a little taller. Say up to there. Good. Okay, you should have enough room to get through there. And then we're going to draw another one over here just so he doesn't fall off the edge. He's not glitching there, but let's get him off on the right foot there. Let's grab this and let's draw a brush here. And we'll kind of push it in there. There we go. Here, let's connect them up so they look nice. There we go. All right, so what we can see basically is we've got kind of collision there, and if everything goes right, he'll squeeze in there and not go towards that edge. So that's the first thing we wanted to fix. And then the second thing we wanted to put in is these decals. So let's do that real quick. So let's go over to where our little bot is. Okay, let's go down here. Select the bot and just the floor. Hide everything else. Okay, so we're going to draw a brush first, and we'll just go with our our cock brush. Where is he? Textures. Select our cock brush. Okay, and a brush of 56 by 56 works good for this decal. So let's go ahead and draw 56 by 56. There we go. Okay, good. Let's create a simple patch mesh. Where's that brush? It's in the floor. There it is. Okay, there's in our render window. Show it to you. Let's create a simple patch mesh. We know how to do that. We've done that in past videos. Simple patch mesh. 3x3 is fine. Okay, of course it's not orientated correctly. Let's get that going. This is where the embarrassment and the giggles start, because I can never figure this out. Okay, come on. There we go. Top view, 56 by 56. Good. And the decal that we want to put in here, you can find it in, if we go into the media folder, close the textures folder, decals, but there's just so many in here, it's hard to go through. Okay, it's here in decals. And if you scroll all the way down, you find something called, where is it here? Decal Sentry Spot. So go way down here. Oh boy, it takes forever. Sentry Spot, and it's in, there it is, there's Spot. Okay, I've already loaded it. So textures, select it. The patch mesh, let's hit that thing. Okay, there it is there. We want to hit S for Surface Inspector. We want to go fit. There we go. Okay, and then let's take it, well, let's move it around the Sentry bot. Let's make sure it's centered more or less. Go down to a smaller grid. There we go. And let's take it just above the floor. And before I was going 1 unit, but this time we can go, say, well, 0.25 units and bring this, well, a little coarser than that. Let's go grid size 0.5. Let's bring that decal down. Oops. Come on, we just want to bring it down. It's hard to select because it's so thin. But we'll just put 1 unit. Just, okay, there it is. Let's go here. Coarser grid. Let's clone that brush because we want to also put it on the end point. So just stick with me here. Let's move this down. Where is he? Oh, we got to unhide everything. There we are. All right, we got to bring this guy up. Really hard to see because it's so thin. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, that path corner does not center where that little guy rests. So you can see here I've got it centered on the path corner. You can kind of see this if you look down here where my mouse is circling. Doesn't quite work out though. So I'm going to go down to that grid size. And I'm just going to move it down something like this. We should be pretty close. And we're good on the floor, right? Let's just double check. Go into that room. Come up. Okay, there it is. You see, it's a little offset. I think that should get us pretty close. Okay, so let's save. That's BSP. Let's go into the map. So we put in a shut off, so he's going to shut off now. And also, we put in that monster clipping. Okay, so there it is. There's a decal. He comes to life. Okay, there he goes. And let's just make sure he goes nicely on that ramp since we put that monster clip in. Should be good. Okay, buddy, go ahead. Yeah, see, much better. He doesn't fall off the edge anymore. There he goes. He's good. Okay, and he comes down there, and we got the decal on the floor. We should hit it pretty close. It's still not perfect, but we can adjust a little bit more. Okay, so that does that. So let's jump back in the editor now, because one thing we want to do here is, well, so far he's leading us along. Let's take a look here. We don't have to get out of here. We've got the player, or the little Sentry bot now leading us. Now what we want to do is we want to create some fire support. So let's just adjust this thing again. Try to get that better. Okay, there we go. So he's leading us now. We want to create fire support. Easy enough to do. We just have to put monsters on the map, basically, right? So once he encounters monsters, the guy should start firing at him. So let's start off by throwing in an imp. So we'll right mouse click. Let's go to monster. And let's put in an imp, demon imp. There he is there. Let's get him facing the right way. Entity, we want him facing 180. There he is. We'll put him in the corner. Make sure he's on the floor. There he is. Let's have a quick look at him. Okay, there he is. One more monster. Let's put in one of those little fat guys. Okay, let's go monster. And his name is what? Monster Zombie Fat. Okay, Monster Zombie Fat. So we got to look down here. It's alphabetical. Monster Zombie Fat. There he is. Okay, let's put him on the floor. Put him over here in this room. Now, we want to give this guy 1 key val, because once all the firing starts and the sim starts to come alive and everything, he's going to start coming at us. We want to tell him to wait until he sees the player to start attacking. So we'll just select him. We'll come down here into the Entity Inspector. And if we look through his little list of key vals, although it's going to be super long. Oh boy. Okay. Well, the key val is what? It's ambush 1. Can we find it? Ambush 1. There. No, ambush. Yes. If set, monster only wakes up if it sees the player. So we want to put that in there. So we want ambush in 1. So let's put this key val in. Go lowercase. Ambush. Type slowly and surely. There we go. Ambush tab 1 Done. Okay, and let's hit save and BSP. So all we're doing is putting monsters in here so we see the guy give fire support. So let's make sure all that's working. Let's go back into the map. All right, so he's leading us already, and let's see if he protects us from monsters. So we'll go through the trigger. There we go. Okay, let's go, buddy. Better get our pistol fired up just in case. Okay, so we're just walking along. Oh, and there's an amp. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, see, and he's offering fire support. Nice. Okay. Oh, zombie. Oh, and he starts firing at him. So he's giving us fire support, and he's leading us along. There he goes. He does his little mission. Up he comes. Monster clips are working nice. And then let's see if we hit the decal a little bit better this time. Yeah, we're pretty close. We can still mess with it, but it's not bad. Okay, so now the last thing we want to do in the Doom 3 game, the last little sort of function this guy has is he lights our path. If you notice, there was that EMP section where it was like totally dark and only his flashlight we could depend on for light. So let's show how to get a flashlight going for this guy. In order to accentuate the flashlight from the little Sentry bot here, we want to adjust our lighting because there's really no point in having a flashlight on if we got high key lighting here. Also, it'll just make the sequence a little bit nicer. So I'm going to select that little light in that corridor, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. We could delete it, but as you know, if we have start underscore off as a key and a val of 1 because it's a boolean, that's going to turn that light off. So that works. That's done. Okay, so let's go to the second light. Now, all we're going to do is knock this light back by giving it a bit of a texture. And it's going to reduce the amount of light. It's going to kind of give us a nice speckled look. We want to go in here and find Grade 7, let's see here, Blinky. So Grade 7 Blinky, let's apply that to that light. Done. Let's grab this light. Oops, this light here. J, we'll assign it a texture slightly different. We'll go with this one here, which is kind of cool. Grade 8 square. All right, we'll apply that to that one. And then finally we'll hit this guy and J, and we'll go to texture, and we'll go back to that Grade 7 Blinky one. E, F, G, Grade 7 Blinky, apply, okay, done. Okay, so all we did was just adjusted our lighting. All right, so now in order to make this flashlight come on, interesting to note that in the Doom 3 maps, whenever they have this little Sentry bot and this flashlight going on and off, they actually use 4 entities. But I found that you can get away with just 2. And I'll show you how that works. So the first entity we want to add is actually just a trigger, but it's kind of a special trigger. And it's actually what's called a trigger entity name. And what's special about it is we can define a entity to tell that trigger basically, look, just this entity will make you go off. So this is how we do that. We're just going to draw a normal brush, but we're going to use a slightly different texture just because we want to differentiate it on our map from our trigger once. So let's go into our common. If we go down here, just above the trigger once is this trig entity name. We just want to grab that texture here, and we're going to draw out a brush, and we're going to draw that out right in front of this darkened hallway because it's an obvious place for the little bot to turn its flashlight on. So let's just make that the size of the doorway. There we are. Now it's just a dumb brush with this trigger entity name texture on it. See, it's differentiated from that trigger once. Now we have to actually turn it into the entity. So let's go into our XYZ window. Let's right mouse click, and we're going to look for trigger entity name once. So we're going to go down to our trigger, and then here entity name. Okay, there it is. And it's got an origin. Just look where my mouse is hovering, and that's done. Now, while it's selected, we want to add key vals in here. So the key val that we're going to add in here first is this entity name. So we're telling this trigger, hey, only this entity can fire you off. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to deselect that, and I'm going to select our little bot here. Just because I want to get in its name, I don't want to have to type it in. So let's go to name and put that into our key val. Let's head on over to that trigger. Okay, so we're going to select the trigger entity name, and we're going to put in here entity name. entity name, and it should be one word. If you look up here, entity name, name of the entity that may touch or activate the trigger. Entity name, we've got that that Sentry bot's name in there. Okay, and we're going to hit enter. So basically we're just telling this trigger, hey, only go off when that little Sentry bot that we have in our map hits you. And that makes sense because we want this light to go on when the Sentry bot comes up to that darkened hallway, not when the player comes up to that darkened hallway. So we're going to connect this in a second, but we can just leave that there for now. Now the second entity we want to add here, if we just go to our top view, something called a target call object function. So we're just going to right click on our XYZ. We're going to look for target call function. Target, let's see here, call function. There it is there. Target underscore call object function. So that's the actual one there. All right, we're going to put that in our map. Let's put it near our trigger, kind of put it up here so it's out of the way. And for whatever reason, I like it on this side. Okay, so there it is. Now we want to put in some key vals on this guy here. So we're going to start off first with name. So let's go down here, and there's our name. Let's go into tab window and take that out. And we're going to actually call this thing here flashlight underscore on. And that's it. So that target call object function, we gave it a key val of name flashlight on. Okay, that's done. Next we have to put a call in here, and in fact we're going to name the call same thing as the actual name of the function, so we're calling itself basically. So we're going to put in here call and tab, and we're just going to leave that flashlight on. So as you can see up here where my mouse is hovering, name flashlight on and call flashlight on, it's the same. Now we got to start connecting entities. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this trigger entity name, and we're going to target that flashlight on. So let's hit that target entity name first, then we're going to hit that target call object function next, and Control K. And we've got that connected. You can see the path there. And if we look in here, we want to make sure we've got a target of that flashlight on, which we do. All right, next we want to hit that flashlight on. That target call object function. I'll click that first, shift left mouse button. Then we're going to grab the Sentry. Let's just click him so you can see it in the render window. There it is. And we're going to hit Control K. All right, there it is. And there's our path. We can see it's going the right way. So let's just double check. Click on that target call object function and make sure it's got its target of that Sentry. You can call that character Sentry anything. I'm just left in the default, but if you saw the way I clicked it and the way I targeted it by Control K, that should make some sense. So that's all we need to do. So let's hit save and BSP. All right, there we go. Let's go into our map. Whoops. F2 map, and we want to go M6B. Okay, and we're in our map now. Okay, so what should happen now is when we trigger it, the little guy should come to life. Okay, and then he should walk over there as long as we follow him. And then when he hits that trigger, there's flashlight came on. Now we can see we've darkened everything, and there we can see the imp. Okay, he shoots it, and there he goes. Fire support. We can see our little gray texture there. Okay, and we can see it accentuates the little flashlight, okay? So there he is. Oh, there he is there. Oh, he's getting the zombie, the fatty. There he goes. Okay, and he's got his light on. Now, just with those two entities, we're going to see if the flashlight goes off. And it should. I mean, my testing did. And there it goes off. You see, now in the id maps, they actually put another trigger entity name in there and a target call function to turn it off. But from what I can see, you don't need it. So there it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to throw just a little light in here so we could just see that off sequence a little better. Let's do that real quick. Just going to come up here. Let's see here. Let's throw a light in here. Just up here, just so we can see this little guy shut off. And let's go into our little light editor. And I don't know, let's put in, I don't know, 150 here. That should be a good size. And let's fix its intensity a little bit just so it's not so bright. There we go. Okay, all I did was I just put a little bit of light there to see that shut off sequence. So let's see it again, shall we? So let's save. Let's BSP. There we go. go back into the map. And the whole sequence is working great. So when we hit that initial trigger, the guy comes alive. There he is there. Whoops. There he goes. He's coming alive. We've adjusted our lighting, so when he walks up to that dark hallway there, his little flashlight comes on. You can see he leads us through. Oh, he spots the imp, starts to shoot the imp up. See, the flashlight looks kind of nice, gives us a little bit extra light. Okay, we go in here. Oh, there he sees the big guy there. Lets him have it, nice. And our monster clips are working nice. He's walking up the center of that. And totally, that AI is working perfectly, leading us along. There he goes. We've adjusted our decal. Still not perfect. Well, it's pretty good, actually. And there we have our sequence. Pretty simple. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned if you want to see more Doom 3 editing videos. We're going to have some more coming out shortly. As always, thank you and all the best. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content that we post.